This is NDTV and you are watching NDTV Prime.
Hello and welcome to India's Small Giant Season 2, powered by Vodafone Business Services in association with Standard Chartered Bank. We've had a swell time the last 5 weeks. Amazing numbers of feedback that we've received. In fact, we're going to talk about one such element of feedback that we've received, which is about how is it and what education should an entrepreneur or a startup receive before starting his business. I would say that's a good question on one hand, but on the other I'm reminded of a saying by Mark Twain, who said, and I quote, "I never let school interfere with my education." To swim, you don't have to take lessons without getting into the pool. To drive, you cannot drive or learn to drive unless you get onto a car or a motorbike. Exactly similar is what you need to do when you want to become an entrepreneur. Start your business, get onto it, and work on your idea. And the younger that you are while you're starting, the better. Remember Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, almost all the brighter names that have made a fortune. Today we're going to talk about Sukhanto Ghosh of Sparklet Engineers, a person who had a commerce background and went on to take his father's oil and gas business into a multi-100 crore company.
I was a technical director of a company. In 1973, that company closed down because of labor travel. At that time we developed a lot of items for Larsen & Toubro for export. At that time the then materials manager, one Mr. M. Sondi, asked me to start the business and develop the item whatever I have developed for them. That time I didn't have any factory or anything. And Larsen & Toubro in 1973 gave me the order without a factory. The time we started the business, I got investment of only 5,000 rupees. Then first bank loan we got 20,000 rupees in the year of 1977. In 1977, 1st January, I have my own unit at Goregaon with a 600 square feet of area. In the year of early 80s, we come across with oil field procurement of different kind of item from ONGC. On that basis, we started manufacturing oil field item. In 1995, my son Sukhanto Ghosh joined in my company, and then onwards he took the initiative to develop this oil field item.
I started with him in 96, and as I remember, we started with his line of business that was something totally different to what we do. The focus was the oil and gas industry, but there was a lot of vacuum. It was mostly a seller's market. Clients were not getting proper technical support, were not being treated well because manufacturers were less, demand was more, so the vendors were dictative. Further, we saw, other than this problem the clients were facing, that nobody was ready to take up challenges or do some things which are beyond their scope of capability. And we bridged that gap in such a way that we became total solution providers to a lot of big companies, big EPC contracts. There is a bunch of clients who can't reach there because their projects may be less than $10 million. So go to a company like a big size company, the project size has to be 100, 200 million. So we focused only on those customers. Our earlier contracts were of up to $500,000. Today we are having contracts, single contracts worth $15 to $20 million, because that plugging of the gap is giving technical solutions is what the clients never got and which we are giving them. So quality is part of that commitment we give to the customer. Today our group Sparklet, we have factories in Ambernath which are employing near to 300 people. We have our facilities in Sharjah. We have a joint venture facility in Iran. We have a facility in Nigeria, and we have a facility just recently started in USA. So it's been an interesting journey because since 96 to 2016, our growth, our reputation, both have exponentially grown in the market, and especially overseas, where it's challenges of an Indian company of our side doing technologically challenging projects. My vision is directly related to the efforts put in by our chairman. He made this name Sparklet, so the vision is to make this company a much more bigger global brand. Difficulties first is the banking system. Banks are only feeling one thing, they want the top line and the bottom line both to grow year on year without any understanding of the business. For them, if you can't make a sale, we will withdraw our loans. In our industry, technology is everything. The reason being, our equipments process the crude that comes out from the wells. The oil comes out in various forms. The equipments we deal it, once the oil has been drilled and it has to be processed, that is when our role comes. Our role is to ensure that the oil is separated, because the oil comes in the form of gas, water, crude oil and lot of impurities. And if there is no technology, how will you separate? Sometimes it is proven technology. Once you have developed a line of product line, it can sell anywhere. But there are certain things which you have to do case to case basis. Technology is everything. Honesty, commitment, and you have to take risks. Means I believed in one thing: no guts, no glory. If you dream, you have to work for it.
Inspiring stuff, wasn't it? An Indian oil and gas sector company going on to offer its expertise to international economies. On the other hand, for the next story, we have Mr. Sudhir Gupta, a chartered accountant by profession, who set up a company in the waste management space, which is not only offering its solutions to India, but also to 68 countries around the world. Let's have a look.
Actually, my company started in 1980 when I finished my chartered accountancy, and there was a small company just opposite my house which was run by one of my distant relatives, and I used to sit with them in the evenings. Probably from there my journey started. They invited me to join this company. Initially I learned the basics of this manufacturing and the machines that we used to make, to understand the processes and the markets. But slowly, after 5-6 years, I took it forward, and we were on a stage when 1988 came. We were able to export one of our machines to Bahrain. Those days, India was a net importer. There was no exporter of technology or machines from India. So probably we were very few and very first of the few which started exporting these machines. Since 1988 and onwards, we never looked back, and we started our small factory in a back lane which was about 500 square feet. In 1990, we expanded to our own factory which was around 3000 square feet, and we were making almost 30-40 machines in a year, and our exports were very high. We used to export about 60% of our machines. We went outside, saw all the machines working which were either European or German. Looking into those machines, based on those designs and machines and their performances, we improved our machines in India. Our cost of production is very cheap as compared to European and other machines. Performance is at par with them. We are the only company in India wherein we have a policy: if any of our customer who either is not interested in running the business or wants to expand into bigger lines, can give back our machine to us and take a bigger machine. Even if he doesn't want to take a new machine, he can still give his machines back to us. This machine what we buy back from them, refurbish them and give it to smaller buyers who cannot afford a new machine. Today we have 3 factories totaling about 75,000 square feet. Initially we started with about 6 people working in our factory. Today we have more than 200 people working directly and about 150 people indirectly. In terms of machines manufactured, we made about 10 machines in our first year. Today we make about 300 machines in a year. Initially when I started, there was only domestic market. Today we have 68 countries in the world where we are exporting. Our biggest motivation is when our customer comes to us back and says, we are satisfied with your machine. The purpose for which we bought the machine is being fulfilled. There are 4 or 5 things which has really helped me to grow and to reach this level. First and foremost is my duties towards my government and my country. That is, whatever is my profit is only after all the taxes paid to the government. Quality product. Product has to be of a standard, maintainable quality. Customer service is my prime most. I keep my customer always ahead of anybody else in my entire industry. I will say there are no shortcuts to success. It is sheer hard work, honesty toward government, honesty towards your customer, and all the more support of your family.
Waste management is a huge opportunity internationally, and so it is in India too, with the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Those of you who want to get into the waste management space, do connect with us on indiasmeforum.org or follow us on @SME-Forum-India. Hang in there and we'll see you on the other side of a very small break.
मैं छोटा था तो बहुत बातूनी था। बाहर से पढ़ के आया तो और भी ज़्यादा बोलने लगा। लगता था दुनिया का सारा ज्ञान मेरे ही पास है। मेरे पिता श्री महेश गुप्ता, जिस दिन मैंने उनका चाय का बिज़नेस संभाला, उन्होंने मुझे बुलाकर कहा, गौरव, बोलते तो सब हैं, सुनना सीखो। बस उस दिन से मैंने सुनना शुरू किया। चाय की सुनी, उसके चाहने वालों की सुनी, जिसमें वो रहती है उस प्याले की सुनी, चाय की पत्तियाँ वो आपस में क्या बात करती हैं उसे सुना, बदलते वक्त को सुना। पिताजी ने कहा था सुनो, मैंने सुना। आज मैं बोल रहा हूँ और कामयाबी सुन रही है।
Focused on your career, you need trusted financial guidance for everything else that's important in your life. One bank is here for you. Standard Chartered, here for good.
Think wellness, think Arogyam. Powered by Thyrocare.
Welcome back to India's Small Giants Season 2, powered by Vodafone Business Services in association with Standard Chartered Bank. I'm now going to introduce to you Mr. Arun Prakash, an entrepreneur who actually wanted to become a doctor. He couldn't get admission into the MBBS degree. Instead, he started into the pharmaceutical field and then, figuring out a lacuna, set up his own business, which went on to do a couple of 100 crores.
I started this business way back in 1989. I was very interested to be associated with the medical field. I had my last days of education, masters in chemistry in Jabalpur, and I landed up in Delhi with only 170 rupees in my pocket. I was working for a chemical company. There was a huge gap in what the customer's expectation was from people who were providing products or services. So I picked up this industry and exploited the challenges and the gaps there were in the industry to build up the business. When I started, it took me almost 6 to 8 months to get my first business. So the only customer that I had was, one of them was Serum Institute in Pune, and the others were largely the government universities which were funded for research. Genetics was one of the first very few life science companies who went into distribution of products that were highly perishable in nature. We were the first company who started warehousing products in India. We are servicing life science and healthcare industries. So we provide cutting edge technologies in life sciences for new drug discovery, cancer research. On the other side, we've been providing diagnostic products and services in molecular diagnostics for infectious diseases. We've also recently been servicing hardcore healthcare industry with products for ostomy, critical care, and a lot of focus on advanced wound management. Many of our products come from global sources. We have never compromised on the quality of the products. In last over 2 decades, we managed to build a very strong brand equity for genetics. Today, genetics is one of the strongest brands in the life science industry. I would say even better than number of multinationals who have come and set up a shop here. At that time, the import regulations, because most products came from, from the western part of the world, the import regulations were very, very tough. So hardly anyone ever thought of putting their money and efforts into starting a business like that. Getting products for our research in Indian industry 25 years ago was a very daunting task. It used to take almost 6 months to 9 months to get a product with all the regulations that were existing at that time. Genetics created a business model where either people could get the products within a month's time or down to 7 days.
Look back 20 years now, nobody really understood what was biotechnology about and what did we do as an organization. So, now of course everybody is talking about, this biotechnology, it's very promising. So, the difficulty was getting across to customer, because India is not a very easy market to be in.
We offer a one-stop shop for our customers across in life science and healthcare. Having not come from a business family, come from a humble background, doing a business was a huge challenge.
Actually, we started from the basement of our house, and then, as the number of people grew in and the operations grew in, we moved to this office, then the warehouse was set up, then the branch offices were set up. I think we've not had the time really to sit down and think in last 20 years.
The most important things that have helped grown me and my organization is hard work, dedicated and focused approach, vision, honesty, integrity, leveraging long term, and taking care of your employees.
Arun is a great innovator, and he has one quote which he shares with most people, which is, his success is a result of his many failures. We move on to another gentleman called Mr. Shirish Kumar of a company called A1 Future Technologies. And the amazing thing about this company is that it started out as a small cyber shop in Calcutta and went on to having 20,000 plus customers in 100 plus countries around the world today. Let's have a look.
It all started in 1997 with a cyber cafe. We started this cyber cafe when I was still in college. It was that time when internet was still making its inroads in India. I was a first generation entrepreneur, and I was blessed to have all the possible support from my family, especially from my dad, who himself was a computer engineer. Initially, we started off by offering web design services, which actually took us to brand design services. And then we specialized ourselves as a specific logo design company from the branding perspective. And in 2001, I received my first web design and order from Calcutta itself. We were offering the complete bouquet of brand design services as the market was expanding and the demands were rising. So beyond that, we inculcated new design services within ourselves. We started offering infographic design services, and then we moved on to offer explainer video and animation services. In 2005, we started looking into the international markets, and when we started doing that, we did a lot of research as to what are the design and branding needs of those countries. What are their requirements? Based on that, we developed our team so that we could match their design and communication dynamics. And today, we are proud to say that we have got more than 25,000 clients spread across 100 plus countries. When we started this brand design services, not many companies were offering this. But once we entered this, we learned the root of the business. And today, we are not just a graphic design or branding agency. We are agency for agencies. There are several agencies who are outsourcing their complete design work to us, and we are offering them white label design services. In the last several years, we have received a lot of acknowledgements, including awards from NASSCOM, DNB and CNBC. In the initial days, the first difficulty was to get the kind of designers that we want. So, since we were not getting experienced designers, we had to hire fresh designers. And somehow that really worked great for us. Today, we majorly hire freshers, and that is our strength, because due to that problem that we faced long back, we developed our system and processes in such a way that we are able to hire people, train them according to our system, and still deliver exactly what the client wants. We have our internal project management process, we have our own CRM, PMs, etc. well placed. So we are able to use the technology in the most optimum possible manner to ensure that whatever we deliver is absolutely perfect and in time. Persistence, keenness to learn, openness to stretch beyond boundaries, experimenting, and the risk-taking appetite, and finally the self-belief. All these have helped develop the A1 team which is here today.
We've come to the end of today's episode, and I'd like to share a couple of personal experiences with all of you. The first thing that I believe is that if you are young, you can definitely become a very successful entrepreneur. The second thing that I'd like to share with all of you is each and every successful entrepreneur around the world and in India talks about one thing, which is transparency. Never evading taxes, never hiding incomes, and all of that, which makes it very easy for investors, bankers, partners to trust you. While you are at it, connect with us on our website, indiasmeforum.org, or on our Twitter handle, which is SME Forum India. And we will see you back here on the same channel next week. Till then, this is Vinod Kumar saying bye.
चिन्तयन्तो ये जनाः पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम्।
आपकी सुरक्षा और समृद्धि है हमारी जिम्मेदारी।